I apologize that I haven't done this in a while. The fact of the matter is I've been pretty busy with real life obligations, and quite frankly, I haven't had much of an urge to talk about this team. But given the occasion here, I felt as necessary to make sense. So I'm going to actually do two videos today. First, I'm going to discuss the game itself, and then I'm going to talk about where Michigan goes from here. The question is often asked, why is the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry considered one of the best rivalries in college sports, if not sports, period? And my answer is games like this. This game really did have the makings of an actual classic. I mean, it didn't start well for Michigan, but they fought back. They actually managed to take the lead. And for a while, it was actually pretty back and forth. I mean, Michigan, one side would throw a punch, the other side would punch right back. Just back and forth, back and forth. It was anyone's game. Unfortunately, it kind of came apart at the end there, which doesn't surprise me because, I think Michigan just couldn't keep up with a team that clearly had outclassed them, but that's the way these things go, and that's why I'm really ticked off at the final score for this, because it won't adequately state just how close this game was, how nail-biting this game was for 3 quarters, and then it all just kind of came apart at the end there. Which is sad, but that's the way these things go. There's no question in my mind that this team played its best today, and its best clearly isn't good enough, but I'll talk about that in my next video. Devin Gardner's last game of the year, he certainly went out fighting. That's actually what I did like about this team, is that this team basically had nothing to lose. That's actually why I didn't feel bad about picking them to win this game, because, this was going to be it for Brady Hoke. It was going to be it for Devin Gardner and Jake Ryan and the seniors. It might be it for Devin Funchess. We don't know. But this team was playing like it had absolutely nothing to lose. And it went out there and it just took it to them. Unfortunately, it just couldn't hang on at the end there. Couldn't make it happen, but that is, it is what it is. Another interesting thing is that both sides actually lost their best offensive players. Drake Johnson, again, he had a hell of a game today, proving that what happened against Indiana, I think it was no fluke. This kid really can run. Unfortunately, he banged up his knee, and that was pretty much it for him. JT Barrett lived up to the hype. And then he broke his leg, I think, in the fourth. I think it was the start of the fourth quarter. He broke his leg, and that's really bad. Putting the rivalry aside, you never want to see that kind of injury happen to the kid, especially one who has such a bright future in front of him. I just felt bad for JT Barrett. And what I did like is that, and they didn't really show us on the broadcast, but it was all over Twitter, is that when he was being lifted up onto the cart to kick out the field, DG actually went over and held his hand and tried to comfort him, which really, it just shows a class act, what a class act Devin Gardner really is. I know a lot of us this year have been frustrated by Devin Gardner, the football player. I admit I have been too. I think if I had to look back on his career, the word disappointment would come to mind. Because when it comes down to it, he had really great numbers. Today he actually passed Denard Robinson for the 4th most passing yards in history. He already passed Jim Harbaugh for most passing yards. The 6th most passing yards he had. He had great stats, great numbers. And of course, again, but he just couldn't, he wasn't consistent. He never was really able to make the right decisions, to really use his athleticism to his advantage. While I won't go so far to say as he regressed during his time here, he was certainly broken. And by no means was any of this his fault. This man went through 3 offensive coordinators, 2 head coaches, and had to play 2 positions. Okay? And when he started, he never had an offensive line that could protect him. And he didn't have a lot of receivers outside of maybe like 1 or 2 people, a couple tight ends. And there was no, and running game was still kind of non-existent. So I take it back what I said earlier. I take back what I said when disappointment would come to mind when thinking about Devin Gardner's career in Michigan. The word sabotage comes to mind because he really was sabotaged. I have no doubt that if he went to a Pac-12 school, that he would have, he probably would have won a Heisman. It's simple as that. And And I really hope he's smart enough, and I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's smart enough because he's working his master's degree right now. I'm sure he's smart enough to have a way to make money after football, because I cannot say enough about Devin Gardner, the person. This man really is just a class act. He is a good person. He is an example. He is a role model. And it's really sad that he will not be remembered as one of Michigan's greatest quarterbacks. He did not, I don't think he lived up to number 98, but he certainly didn't disgrace it by any means. By the way, members of the Harmon family have said that they don't think he disgraced the number was, so I know I'm talking there. Okay, but yeah, I know it obviously was not the end we were hoping for, but it was certainly what was expected. But again, the upside here is that, like I said, this was it for Brady Hoke in all likelihood. This was it for Devin Gardner, Jake Ryan, and the seniors. This season was it for Dave Brandon, which is the biggest thing to take away from this. So change, I do believe, is on the horizon. And in my second video, I'm going to talk about what Michigan needs to do to get back on top.